Alright, so today I'm back with yet another episode Nagi Chapter review, and today we will go over Chapter 15 and 16, where Team Nagi faces off against Team Rio. And I know how you guys want to get right into the video, so I won't hold you guys anymore. Just be sure to please leave a like and a comment, as well as join the Discord server. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get into it. In the meeting room, Isagi's team is deciding who to bring in after winning the match, and Nagi suggests that Rio would be a good choice. Isagi starts freaking out as all of them seem to want different people. Baru mentions that he already knows the kind of soccer he wants to play. Nagi tells them that they don't need to decide now, because if they lose, one of them will end up being chosen by the winning team. Nagi remembers Rio's words, realizing this must be how Rio feels now, and he knows he has to accept it and fight him. He recalls the promise the two of them made to win the World Cup, knowing Rio hasn't forgotten it either. Meanwhile, Rio's team prepares for their match. Rio thinks to himself that he's going to shut down Isagi, win this match, and prove to Nagi that he made the wrong choice. He's convinced that once he does that, Nagi will definitely come back to him. As the 3v3 Blue Lock battle begins, the whistle blows and Rio steps in, single-mindedly determined to crush Nagi. Nagi steels himself, thinking it's time to win. Rio intercepts Isagi, declaring that Nagi is the treasure he found, and in this match, he's going to take him back. Isagi, fired up, challenges him to try, shouting at Baru to pass the ball. Baru, however, snaps at Isagi, telling him to back off because he'll handle it his own way. Rio smirks, realizing that the king is never going to pass. He's playing just as Rio expected. Rio rushes to take the ball from Baru, commenting that no matter how many talented players Isagi gathers, if he doesn't know how to use them effectively, it's all wasted potential. He notes that the same is true for Nagi. As Chigiri takes control of the ball, Nagi runs in, trying to intercept it, but Chigiri speeds up, taunting him. Rio observes this, thinking that when it comes to speed, Nagi is simply mediocre. Chigiri successfully scores a goal for Rio's team. Rio watches with satisfaction, thinking that Nagi and Baru are clashing, and Isagi has no choice but to act as the intermediary. But Rio knows that Baru isn't the type to rely on anyone else. As the game restarts, Kunigami manages to steal the ball from Baru, commenting that he's trying too hard to take on everything himself. Kunigami scores another goal for Rio's team, and Rio smirks, thinking that it serves Nagi right. Nagi glares at Baru with frustration, while Rio feels a dark satisfaction, determined that even if Nagi cries or apologizes, he won't forgive him for leaving. The game restarts, and Isagi and Rio face each other once again. Rio notices that Isagi seems more focused, using his vision differently. Chigiri then rushes after Nagi. Nagi points out that no matter how fast someone is, humans can't instantly go backwards. And to everyone's surprise, Nagi pulls off a reverse back technique, leaving everyone stunned. Rio is shocked, realizing that Nagi never used this move when they were playing together. He watches in disbelief as Nagi scores a goal, all while sporting a confident smirk alongside Isagi. Rio looks at them both, feeling a pang of sadness, silently begging them to stop making those victorious faces. Kunigami asks Rio if he also thinks Nagi is different from before and is more amazing now. Rio clenches his teeth, mentioning that he will not accept it, implying that Isagi's influence has caused Nagi to level up. His eyes pop out with anger as he wonders what makes the difference between him and Isagi. Fired up, he thinks he will make Nagi understand that he is far more superior than Isagi. As the game restarts, Rio faces Isagi and mentions that there is something he can't understand. Why did Nagi choose him? An imbecile who can only make direct shots. Isagi looks at him in shock, telling him to buzz off and questioning how he could even know that. Rio takes the ball from him, mentioning that he doesn't have weapons like Kunigami or Nagi, and that's the reason he is so focused on winning. By winning, he will repudiate him, asking Isagi in his mind to be on guard against him, thinking that his brain is superior to Isagi's. Rio is determined to prove himself, thinking that he will make Nagi understand his superiority. In the midst of this, Kunigami scores a goal with his head, causing Rio to smirk, mentioning that this is how he can win the game and questioning if Nagi understands. Rio believes that Isagi's speed and physicality are nothing special, and that his ability to use his teammates is likewise unremarkable. If Isagi is split off from Nagi, he is nothing more than a small fry. Suddenly Rio is stunned as Isagi's aura seems a little different, and Isagi shouts Nagi's name, stating that the two of them will win this game. Nagi agrees with him, and Rio realizes he hasn't discouraged them enough. Determined, he vows to completely sever their connection. As the game restarts, Rio is confused as Isagi pretends to pass towards Baru instead of Nagi. Ryo can't understand what Isagi is after. Kunigami makes a move, and Ryo shouts at him, mentioning that he did a good job, as now he and Chigiri will handle Nagi somehow. However, Ryo freaks out as Isagi suddenly returns, leaving him unable to comprehend how. Nagi tells Isagi that he understands him, and Ryo realizes that Isagi has used Baru as bait to create an opportunity for his own goal, devouring his own teammates. Isagi scores, and Ryo wonders if this is Isagi's true nature. The way Isagi is playing right now feels completely different from before, as if he just thought it up and changed his style on the spot. Ryo thinks that Isagi's strength cannot simply be described by saying he's good at soccer. To win, Isagi isn't afraid to destroy himself completely, making him a monster. The talent Ryo lacks is what draws Nagi to Isagi. It's Isagi's light. Nagi asks him to catch up, and Isagi agrees, telling Baru not to get in their way, calling him a loser. Ryo realizes that if he can't keep up with Isagi's awakening, he will just get devoured. Ryo looks tense, thinking that he has to keep it up. Otherwise, things are going to end here, as only those who can keep up have the right to survive in the blue lock. After Nagi scores, both teams have the same score. However, Chigiri takes the ball and with incredible speed scores the 4th goal for his team, shouting in happiness and releasing his pent-up energy. Ryo watches, feeling a mix of awe and frustration, thinking that they're the true egoists, the ones who go after their desires without hesitation. He realizes he doesn't have extraordinary abilities like Chigiri's speed, and he begins to question what he's lacking and what is holding him back. Nagi looks at Chigiri, mentioning that he's getting better, recognizing his efforts. Isagi smirks, telling him that it's impressive, an ego that could stay buried in front of Nagi, but in the end, he could never become the best in the world. Ryo thinks he doesn't want it to end like this, and now, as the game restarts, Baru takes control of the ball with a fiery determination. All of them shout his name in anger, demanding he pass. However, he shoots the ball, and the goalkeeper stops it. Baru yells out in frustration as he couldn't make the goal. Ryo smirks, thinking to himself that they're idiots for trying to solo play without teamwork. Ryo asks Kunigami to pass him the ball, and Kunigami gives it to him, but before he can take it, Isagi comes in between, anticipating the pass with perfect timing. He slides to kick the ball, but it rolls away just out of his reach. Baru and Chigiri race after it, and Isagi calls out, asking Baru to pass it to him. Baru hesitates, almost shuddering. Ryo is shocked at how precisely Isagi is positioned to demand the pass, urging them to stop. Ryo thinks it's no use, as Baru has already been completely devoured by Isagi's relentless energy. Isagi tells Baru that it was a good pass, calling him a loser and commanding him to move and support his goals. During the break, Chigiri tells his teammates that Isagi was a real badass just now, clearly impressed. Kunigami mentions that the next point will decide the winner of the game. Ryo, catching his breath, tells his teammates that they will not let the others have the ball. They'll score and finish this. He emphasizes that if they lose the ball, they lose the game. Chigiri agrees, suggesting that in that case, they should utilize his speed, as he currently has the highest chance of scoring. Kunigami nods in agreement, and Ryo mentions that if they're betting it all on this last play, then this is their best shot at winning. The final point will decide everything. Ryo, calming his emotions, tells himself to stop being tossed by his feelings. He needs to logically and realistically work out the best move, mentioning that he is superior. He is superior, and he should use his head and trust his skills. He plans to start with the ball and make Chigiri cover a wide distance, disrupting the enemy's formation. Afterward, when they're in disarray, he'll slip behind and increase their odds of scoring. Their methods don't matter anymore, only the results do, and all he cares about is winning, stealing back Nagi, and destroying their light. He will make Isagi see reality, mentally challenging Nagi to give up on the bright future he's holding on to, and he'll smother it with his own hands. As the game restarts, Ryo realizes that Isagi is guarding his pass to Chigiri, with Nagi marking Chigiri closely. They've perfectly anticipated his strategy. He thinks about another move, but the risk of it being stolen is high. They would lose, and they would be devoured. He freaks out, thinking that this can't be happening, as he is the super elite. He tells himself he will defeat Isagi, fighting him one-on-one to pry open the pass route to Chigiri. All he needs is a single moment. The path to Chigiri opens, and Ryo shoots the ball in his direction. He looks at Isagi, thinking that it's his victory, but to his surprise, Nagi intercepts the ball. Isagi tells Ryo it's a nice pass, as they were waiting for it. Ryo is in disbelief as Nagi charges toward the ball, intercepting instead of racing against Chigiri. If Nagi misses, their failure is assured, but the two set up a major gamble. Ryo shouts, urging them to stop, thinking their hope is pointless. There's no way their dreams will come true, and they should accept it, give up, and fail. Suddenly, he remembers his father's words, that he couldn't become a soccer player and that Ryo is destined to be his successor. Ryo is shocked, realizing he has been holding on to those words for so long. Meanwhile, Nagi has found his own dream and has used those words to propel himself forward. As Nagi saves the ball in the last second, Ryo desperately shouts for a rebound. Isagi tells Baru to go for it. Ryo is stunned as they lose the ball in the worst possible way. Baru is going to pass again, but Ryo can't tell to whom. Baru then performs a chop feint on Kunigami, and everyone is astonished by his new technique. Ryo is floored, realizing that the once hopeless Baru seems to be having an awakening, devouring Isagi and everyone else on the field, letting go of his past life and throwing away his ego. Unlike Isagi, Nagi, and Baru, Ryo realizes he still lacks the courage to let himself be destroyed and reborn. Instead, he's been pretending, acting as if he's figured it all out, saying things like he'll make them face reality and telling Nagi to give up. Right now, he's just trash. Baru scores the goal and Isagi smirks. Nagi welcomes Baru back, calling him king, and Baru shouts in triumph and anger. Ryo stands there, utterly defeated, feeling that right now, he just wants to disappear.